going on, everybody? You know what day it is. It's Sunday. Time to review a horror movie. Let's talk about Sweatshop. Now, this is a movie that I used to watch the clips of, like, the deaths way back in the day, like maybe a decade ago. I saw little clips of this movie on YouTube floating around a long time ago. Never knew what the hell it was, but finally decided to pick it up on Amazon for 10 bucks, very cheap. Says it's unrated, but that's just a marketing gimmick. If, of course, it's unrated, it never went to the theater, so you don't need to be rated. Now, despite what all these quotes are saying on this movie, I have to disagree with all of them, except for the fact that it does have brutacular kills. They're brutal, alright, but this movie is about the gore and nothing more. It's just gore, and that's it. And it's not relentlessly entertaining like the back suggests, although it does defy expectations here and there, little weird moments where you don't expect it to go that route. So I guess I will agree with that quote, but it's not relentlessly entertaining. It's boring, all right? But what's the plot synopsis? This movie is about a group of punk rocker looking people who are going to set up this rave party inside of some old abandoned factory. And once they get there and they start setting up all the streamers and lights and the kegs and whatnot, they start getting picked off one by one by this giant beast. And he has no motivation. All he has is a giant hammer that looks like an anvil glued to the end of a big old pipe. So, the positives for this movie is the kills and the gore. The gore is very unrealistically violent and over the top. Just these people explode by the hit of this hammer. And when they get hit by that hammer, they just become mush. There's limbs being hacked off, heads being decapitated with garden shears, blood spraying everywhere. There's a massacre in the last 10 minutes. That's really all you need to see is the last 10 minutes in the kill scenes in this movie. But yeah, the kills and the gore are on point, and really good stuff for such a low budget film. I saw that this movie was made for like $12,000. That was an estimate I saw, so I'm not sure what the real budget was, but shit, $12,000. I could have funded this whole thing. I also liked the addition of these, like, ghouls, they call them in the credits. They're these very pale, almost Evil Dead looking zombie slaves of his. Like, they have their own rooms in this place, and some of them have missing jaws. Some of them, just like I said, kind of look like Mia in Evil Dead. They have like these contacts in their eyes. They're like drooling blood. They walk creepy, like the Exorcist in one scene, like just like they're double jointed, and so it looks creepy. But they don't utilize those characters enough. They don't show them enough, and when they are on screen, it's very choppy with the editing. There's just lots of like zoomed in like shots of their face. They don't really do a whole lot of carnage. All the damage is done by the sledgehammer guy, the beast. I wish we could have got a lot more stuff with these ghouls. And I read that one of these ghouls is played by the main final girl in this movie, and she also did like makeup. And one of the ghouls was played by Joe Lynch, who is the director of Wrong Turn 2. And then there's little silly moments that kind of defy your expectations. You don't see it going this route, which I'm always a fan of weird, silly, random things happening that you wouldn't see in a traditional horror movie. For the most part, this movie feels like it's serious, but then there's just weird little moments of dialogue that's kind of comedic. But I would say 99% of the comedy in this movie, if it was trying to be funny, did not land for me. So that would be a negative. But one last positive I will give is the killer. He's very tall. He's got a welder mask on. They give you these like POV shots of him where you see through the welding mask. It's like a big old rectangle on the screen, and he's got a very awesome weapon, and that's about it. I don't think he's very threatening because you can just easily run away from his ass. He's so huge, and that thing weighs so much. He never runs. You can just run away from him. Like, he never runs in this movie. He never even speed walks. He's just, like, lumbering around. If you see him, just run away. But basically, everything else about this movie was just very bad. Like, the acting was horrid. The dialogue was painful. The direction and the framing was poor. The editing, especially at the end, was very bad and confusing. And this movie was a passion project. I mean, this was directed by a woman, Stacey Davidson. She directed this movie, she wrote it, she produced it, she edited the movie. She did probably some catering for the film. Who the fuck knows? She did everything. And sometimes that can be a good thing. And a low budget film can still succeed and be a great movie. Look at Dry Blood. That's a very low budget passion project movie where you got a guy starring in it, editing the movie, writing the movie, doing special and visual effects for the movie. His band did the score for that movie. That's a great movie. But this one, just not good. I mean, it was just so painful to get through. It was just so boring throughout the whole first 30 minutes of the movie. The first 30 minutes of the movie after that open is just pure garbage. None of the dialogue was working. The characters all suck. And there's one character who kind of has a little redeeming moment, but then he just turns into a complete jackass once again. You just want all these people to die, and nothing they say is funny or entertaining or even remotely interesting. They waste time with all this little bit of drama between characters that really goes nowhere, and it's just not important. It's not interesting. You got lesbians trying to make each other jealous. You got a 5-minute dance scene. It's like they're trying to set up this big party, this big event, and they're constantly like, we need to get this done, we need to get this done, clean that up. And then all of a sudden they're just dancing and doing all this shit. It's like, I thought you had to clean up, I thought you had to do this. Now you're just fucking sitting on your asses. The music is awful. This punk rock shit that they're playing and all the other music that you hear in the movie is just bad. Just did not like it at all. And this final girl who we're supposed to, I guess, root for or give a shit about, there's no focus on her character to the point where I didn't know she was the final girl until she was the last one alive. Like, the movie would be focusing on this character and she would seem like the final girl. I'm like, all right, is this the main chick? And then she would die. I'm like, oh, I guess not. Okay, maybe it's this chick. And then the movie would follow her for a few minutes. I'm like, all right, she seems like maybe she's nope, she's dead. It's like, oh, it's this chick? I completely forgot about this chick and that she even existed. I guess she's the final girl. Yep, she is, and I don't know her. So final thoughts, this movie was just painful to get through. The only thing I enjoyed was little silly moments towards the end. The last 10 minutes is where the massacre happens, when people finally arrive at the party and start getting taken out left and right. Brutal kills, very inventive, good gore for such a small budget. Original looking killer, very awesome, unique weapon, and that's really it. So just look up death clips or watch my spoiler discussion where I will show you all those amazing little gore effects. But other than that, this isn't worth your time. It's not worth even watching for free. Just watch the deaths if you're into gore, and that's it. If you're not a gorehound, then there's really nothing you'll gain from this experience. So when it comes to Sweatshop, this movie to me was just wasted time. Spoiler discussion. Let's talk about all the stupid stuff that happens in this movie. Alright, so it opens up with a naked chick, and she just gets shot by this cop, and the way it's edited looks so fucking stupid. I thought maybe he was shooting her a couple of times, and it showed it from maybe a different angle a couple of times, but no, he shot an entire fucking clip into this chick who was unarmed and probably just needed help. I'm not sure if she was going to attack him, but he unloaded his whole clip into her. And then I like when he walks in, he's like, you damn kids, why don't you just fucking church like normal people? And we get jump scares here and there throughout the movie that, where the friend will sneak up on them and scare them. Music hit, stop. And then they're setting up the party, and it takes 30 minutes to set up this fucking party. Maybe more than that, 45 minutes. I don't think the party actually starts until the last 10 minutes. So, yeah. There's one line that I thought was kind of funny. It's just vulgar. There's a lot of sex talk in the movie. A lot of, blowjobs in the movie, and blowjob talk and cunnilingus and shit. Just lots of sexual humor in the movie. This guy's talking about how he likes to get blown, but he doesn't give back. He doesn't like going down on ladies, and he doesn't like it when a girl blows him and then tries to kiss him afterwards. He's like, I hate jizz, I hate the smell of it, I can't stand it just makes me want to puke. And then he said, but the line that made me laugh was something like, the only cream I eat is ice cream or something stupid. It was just a little dumb thing that made me laugh. Yeah, that's really all I can talk about in this movie. It's sad. It's just that one line that actually kind of made me chuckle. Okay, so then we get this odd moment where a ghoul appears and screams at the chick who I thought was the final girl, and she doesn't even reveal that information to nobody. Like, she falls down and breaks a bunch of shit, creates a mess because of it, and they're like, what happened? What you see? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, nothing. I don't need to tell you guys about the horrifying Evil Dead looking woman that I just saw. Let's just go on our merry way and continue the party. It's like, that would be information worth telling, and you need to get the fuck out of there. She was like drooling blood out of her mouth, and she had like hops and eyeballs. Like, get the fuck out of there. But no, I'll just keep quiet about it. And then, so this lesbian is like fucking this trucker, Wade, fuck off Wade, to make this other chick jealous, and her plan works out perfectly because she just randomly walks by and sees it happening, gets all upset, so then she goes over to this guy who I thought was gay, but he's not. She tries to blow him to make her jealous, but she's already dead. She got her jaw ripped right off. Pretty gruesome, very slow, agonizing death. Like, she has to live through all that. It's just slowly ripping off all the tendons and shit. It looks gruesome. But she's like screaming as it happens, and Wade just left. Like, not even 2 seconds prior to her getting attacked. And she's screaming, and nobody can hear a fucking thing. That's a trope in a lot of horror movies where people are screaming and it just never seems to echo far enough for others to hear it conveniently. But what's funny about that is the girl who I thought was the final girl, she gets captured and she's yelling and screaming at the beast. She's like, I'll scream. If you hurt me, I will scream, and then they'll come for me. It's like, you're screaming right now. No one can hear you. And then when she does get hurt, she's screaming, but it's not going to help. And he just takes that big old anvil hammer and just breaks her lower half completely, like, off her body. But then here's where the movie defies expectations. She lived through that. And then Wade gets electrocuted, and you think that's it for him. He lives through that. So that's just like little expectations being defied. But yeah, like, her whole lower half is gone, basically. It's like hanging on a thread, just barely connected to her upper half. All the skin's just like missing. She just has skeleton legs hanging off of her ass. And she's still alive, and she just gets it the worst. And by the end of it, she just gets her head slammed into the floor, and her head explodes wide open. And so yeah, I just thought that was very silly, the whole I'll scream thing. She's like getting her fingers chopped off too. He's torturing her. She's like bound with barbed wire, tied down with barbed wire, like cutting her wrist, gets her fingers chopped off. And another little silly thing that made me laugh, just for a little second, 1 second of laughter, was when, before the chick blows this guy, she's like, whip it out. But she was referring to his guitar pick. And then she blows him anyways afterwards. So there's this whole like subplot going on with this like beer bottle thing. And she like poisoned it. And then she wants to like retract it. Like, oh shit, I'm making a mistake. I shouldn't do this. And then gets rid of the bottle. This bottle like teleports. It just keeps showing up. Like, Wade's about to drink it, and she's like worried, like, oh no, it wasn't for you, it was for my girlfriend. And then he drops it because he gets in a confrontation, falls on the ground, and then the next time we see the bottle, it's not on the ground, it's in the cooler. And then that guy who was about to drink it gets killed before he can drink it, and so does the other chick. And then Mika or whatever and this other dude end up having that bottle at a completely separate location with a completely different like cooler. This bottle is just everywhere. I didn't get that at all. Did I miss something? I even rewound because I was like, wait, where was that bottle last? Because it was not there. It just kept going everywhere. I guess she poisoned every fucking bottle. And what did she even put in it? She smelled it, and she oversold like how disgusting it was. Like, ugh, ugh, ugh. It's like, we get it. It smells bad. Like, the way she acted in that scene was just ridiculous. Like, okay, we get it. It smells bad. But what it ends up doing when this one chick drinks it, unfortunately, it wasn't for her, but she drinks it. and she starts like vomiting blood. It's like, so what? She was gonna poison her fucking girlfriend because she was cheating on her? That's extreme. But that was another scene that kind of defied expectations where they're having this drinking contest and you don't know which one got the bottle, but you kind of assume it's the Mohawk guy because then he starts puking and he's like, oh, I think I drank too much. And you're like, oh, he drank the poison. But then the other chick starts throwing up blood. But what's funny is the reason why they're having that drinking contest is because she was blowing him, and then she immediately afterwards is like, all right, your turn, and like lifts her leg up, like, all right, it's time for you to go down on me. And he's like, what? That wasn't part of the deal. So they so they have like the drinking contest to see if if she wins, he has to go down on her. And he's like so against it. What a selfish asshole. Like if a woman's blowing you and she swallows, even though that chick says she wouldn't. That was like her rule number 3, right? She ended up breaking that rule. If a woman's doing that for you, you gotta return the favor, all right? Otherwise, you don't deserve it. We get this a lot in movies where if a guy's getting blown, like he's getting head, it's like poetic that he gets his head decapitated. Like Dead Tone. There's so many movies where a guy gets head and then he gets decapitated, like while it's happening. But he gets like decapitated from the mouth up, which looks pretty cool. And then she runs away. She's getting chased by the ghouls. And then she locks herself basically in the lion's cage. She's in this big old elevator thing with the beast. And he just slams her up against the gate. And she just flies through it in pieces, like all her blood and guts. Awesome. Oh yeah, back to that girl who was getting poisoned. Not only is she like suffering already and puking blood, but then the beast comes in and smashes her down, like head to toe crushed. So it's like she got it pretty bad too. But I guess maybe he put her out of her misery because who knows what she was going through with that poison. So Wade goes and tries to fuck the not even there ass of the one chick who got her lower half completely removed by that hammer. Like he sneaks up on her. Well, not really. He's talking to her like, yeah, this is no, you're not gonna like this, but whatever. I don't know what he said, but he's basically just raping her. Like she's alive, and he knows it, but for some reason he doesn't realize that her legs are just bones with little bits of meat hanging on it. Like she's destroyed down there, and he's just so drunk he can't see that. It's like what an asshole. Like he was a little nice earlier, like way nicer than I was expecting, because when he's having sex with the lesbian, right before he's about to come, she stops him and she's like, all right, I'm good, thank you, and then walks away. He's like, oh, okay. Was I at least good? Yeah, that's all I need to know. And then walks away. Like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. And then he's just raping this half-dead girl. What a jackass. But yeah, then there's like a cock in the sock. I'm not sure whose cock that was. And girl gets her head smashed on the ground. Okay, so the girl who gets her head smashed on the ground, who was missing her lower half and fingers, who was tortured, the final girl walks in, sees her, and is like, she might still be alive. And she's completely serious. And then she just lifts her head up and all her brains just start falling onto the ground. Gruesome, awesome stuff. But what a silly, stupid fucking line. Like, really? Come on. So then this token black guy, I didn't write his name down, but whatever. He gets the garden shears right to the back of the neck. And I was thinking as this was happening, I was like, oh, it'd be awesome if he came up behind him and like opened the garden shears to chop his neck off. And that's exactly what he did. And then after his head's chopped off, he just sticks the garden shears into his neck hole right before he falls to the ground. So that's another cool kill. And then Wade and not Afro, that's the opposite, Mohawk guy. I don't know my hairstyles that well. I'm not a hairstylist, but this guy with the weird fucking mohawk, whatever it's called, they're like having this weird little heart-to-heart moment. They're coming clean. They're like both being tortured, and the guy's like, I just want you to know I love you. And then the other guy says to Wade, he's like, I just want you to know I fucked your wife. But then he's like, what? You fucked my wife? And then the other guy's like, well, no, it's not exactly like that. All I did was, we fooled around for about 4 hours straight, and then, she blew me, and then she asked me to fuck her in the ass, so I did, and then I came all over her stomach. That's all we did. And yeah. And so And they're having this conversation right after Wade just got his dick and balls removed. And now both of them have Wade's testicles in their mouths as like ball gags with barbed wire around their neck. Those are some huge testicles that guy had. Like, if those were supposed to be each of his testicles in their mouth, like, those things were fucking huge. So the final girl, she goes and gets the gun from her car, and then when the beast is somehow right there, like, he sneaks up behind her, like, he's not that quick on his feet, there's no way you can't hear him, whatever. She is, like, doing the whole crawling thing, like, she's just crawling away. For some reason, she just can't get up. And then there's so many, like, seconds of opportunity to shoot him, and then she finally does, but it took forever to get there. You're just like, what is she doing? Just shoot him. And then she finally does, but it doesn't do shit, of course. And then she conveniently, like, passes out from the pain of losing, like, of getting, like, stabbed in the hand. She passes out in the middle of this club. They're all laughing at her for some reason. They're dipshits. Like, a woman with a bloody hand is screaming, and then you're just like, ha, 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 look at her, she's such an idiot. And then they all get taken out. One guy is just, like, walking on his hands and gets split down the middle, like Andy in Friday the 13th Part 3. Chick gets a machete through the throat, like, almost like that kill in Psycho 2. And then this chick gets a glow stick through the eyeball. Everybody's just getting hammered away. It's hammer time. Where's MC Hammer? He should have made a cameo. Everybody just getting brutalized, blood flying everywhere. Chick finally regains consciousness, runs out the door. But as she's running to the door, she's crawling again, just crawling and crawling. Somehow she never got trampled, like crushed by everybody running around her. And it's so poorly, like, choreographed. It just looks like people are running in random directions around the beast. It's like, it would not be hard to leave. You all know the way you came in. It's right there. Just there's the fucking exit. Just go. But they're all being idiots. But yeah, like, as she's going towards the exit, the editing makes you think that he's right on her ass like 10 times before she leaves. And by the end of it, he was never even behind her at all. He was attacking other people. That scene just made no sense the way it was shot and put together. I was like, wait, he's behind her? No, he's hitting that person. He's behind her? No, he's over here. He's behind her again. No, he's not. So I don't fucking get that at all. But then she just traps everybody inside and kills them all. Like, she runs out, hits the button, shuts the door. They're all trapped inside. She just hears them all getting massacred and screaming, and then she just runs away. The end. So now let's go into my awards. The Mr. Hat Award for Best Kill, I guess we'll go to the half girl, because she just gets it the worst. Getting her fingers chopped off, getting her lower half hammered right off, and then almost basically being raped by Wade, and then getting her head crushed into the ground. And the lamest kill will go to any one of the massacre scene kills where the people just got hammered off camera. And the hottest chick in this movie, I will say, is the main girl, played by Ashley Kay. I didn't write her name down, but she was the hottest chick. And the clap award for best scene is the massacre at the very end. The last 10 minutes of this movie is where all the juicy shit happens, all the meat and potatoes. That's the scene you need to watch. Other than that, nothing else worth even paying attention to. So that's the end of my Sweatshop review. What did you think about Sweatshop? Put all your thoughts of this movie in the comments below. If you've seen it, if you agree or disagree, do you like the kills? Do you think it's hilarious, unlike me? Put all of your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you like what you've seen, you can hit this like button, and you can become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, Auf Wiedersehen.